She called the sheriff on me for fishing my own shoreline. She called the cops on me for taking my kid out at sunrise, swearing up and down. She owned the lake, said I was trespassing on land I paid for with my own two hands. That single moment kicked off a war I never asked for. But bowing down to a fake HOA queen, not in my lifetime. I started digging through paper old deeds, half-forgotten land rights, and I got to watch her freeze when she realized I owned her entire block. The sky above Lost Timber Lake was that deep, early morning blue as I stepped out onto the dock with my son Colton. Boards creaked under us, softened by years of Montana winters. The lake was flat as glass, a little mist drifting across in thin ribbons, and there was this smell, cold honest, like wet rocks and pine. Colton sat next to me swinging his boots, threading his line through his little spinning reel like a pro. "Dad think we'll catch anything before breakfast?" he asked. "We always do," I told him, dropping my line. For a few minutes it was just peace, soft splash of the bobber, distant croak of a heron, that perfect, simple quiet I moved out here for after the divorce. A rundown cabin on 8 acres of lakefront, quiet enough I could finally hear myself think. Tires on gravel broke the spell. Colton looked back, sheriff's cruiser creeping up the drive, headlights cutting through the mist. Cody ran, the local sheriff stepped out, jaw already tight. And then I heard her, Linda Harwood, queen of the Lake Harmony HOA, marching toward us with her clipboard expensive hiking boots that had never seen a trail and a jacket red as a stop sign. "Sheriff, I need you to remove this man from community property, immediately." Cody just sighed, boots thumping on the dock. "Morning, Evan. Linda says you're fishing on HOA-controlled lake frontage." I kept my voice even. "This is my dock, Cody. My shoreline." "You know it." Linda just scoffed. "That dock extends into community water, our bylaws clearly state." I cut her off. "Your bylaws don't override county plats or state water access." She tried to talk over me, waving around those notices like they meant something. Cody looked caught in the middle. "Evan, maybe just step back for a minute. Let's not make this a mess." But I shook my head. Stepping back tells her she's right. And she's not. Linda's eyes flashed. "Sheriff, I expect you to enforce the rules." The mist swirled around us. Cody shifted his boots on the dock. "Look, Evan." I leaned in and said quiet, "This isn't her lake. She just doesn't know it yet." But this whole mess didn't begin on the dock. It started 6 months earlier. First time I pulled off the county highway down that winding dirt road through the lodgepoles, dust swirling behind my truck like a memory. Colton, backpack in his lap, stared out the window. "It's quiet here," he whispered. That's the point, I told him. The cabin was rough around the edges, porch facing the water-green roof peeking through the trees. After years on the road, years running infrastructure projects, and picking up the pieces after the divorce, the silence felt like a gift I didn't know I'd been missing. First 2 days, I fixed shutters, hauled out junk, made the place ours. The lake was alive, changing with every breeze. Colton spent his days skipping rocks, picking up pine cones, living like a kid should. On the third morning, peace shattered. Heels clicked on my deck, sharp, businesslike. Linda stood there, binder in hand, smile more like a warning than a welcome. "Mr. Mercer." "Welcome to our community," she said, then launched into dues, dock approvals, orientation required payments. I told her flat, "I own my shoreline and my dock. What do these dues even cover?" She didn't like that much. Later, old Hank Barlow stopped by, tall silver hair plate of warm cornbread. "Figured you could use this after meeting Linda," he said. "She's like wildfire. Folks get out of her way or they get burned." I tried to laugh it off. "With Linda, the wrong choice costs your peace," he warned. That night, I found the first violation notice in my mailbox, fancy envelope, gold trim, $150 fine for unauthorized dock. Hadn't even finished unpacking. More notices followed, complaints about the shoreline, the dock, even my boat that hadn't touched water yet. The noise was constant, emails, envelopes, even whispers among the neighbors. Linda was everywhere. Colton got the brunt of it too. One of the fishing club kids told him he couldn't join because his dad doesn't follow the rules. Turns out Linda ran the club herself. That night, sitting out on the porch, anger settled in quiet, patient cold. I started keeping records. Every complaint, every vehicle, every envelope, I logged them all. Engineer's habit. By late October, my binder was over an inch thick. Some evenings, I'd catch Linda standing at her window snapping pictures. Calm, I reminded myself. Patience. But patience isn't doing nothing. Hank showed up again, splitting kindling. She ramps up until you bend or break. Most folks bend. I'm not most folks, I told him. Then she picked the wrong man. Snow came early. The township inspector showed up again. Another complaint, Mr. Mercer. Improper light pollution, wildlife disturbance. He looked at my porch light, one dim bulb. Off the record, he said someone's got you on speed dial. He signed off unfounded and left. That's when the idea hit me. If Linda was going to build a case with fake authority, I'd build one with the truth. Started digging deeper through crawl spaces, old crates, boxes the last owner left behind. Found a cardboard tube inside it, a county map from 1978, faded but clear, showing all the parcels and easements. Turns out a bunch of community property was still in the name of the original developer, or so Linda thought. I took that map down to the county, combed through the records. Turns out North Shore Timberline Holdings went bankrupt. Some parcels were bought at auction, and a good chunk of land, including the access road and shoreline behind Linda's house, wound up in a trust with my name on it. My grandfather's trust. My father managed it after him. No one ever told me. I brought everything to Mara Jensen, a tough-as-nails property lawyer 2 towns over. She flipped through my copies, the map, the trust records. Evan, your family trust owns all these parcels. The HOA has no legal authority over them. Any fines or threats, they're not just invalid, they're fraud. That settled it. Linda called an emergency meeting at the clubhouse, 3 lawyers in tow, stack of violation notices like ammunition. I showed up with a document tube under my arm, Hank giving me a little nod from the back. Before we start, I said, let's see your legal registration bylaws, anything filed with the state. Linda blustered. Her lawyers whispered, but nothing. I unrolled the map. County stamped dated signs showed the parcels, the developer's lots, the access strips. Then the trust ledger bankruptcy filings. My family's name clear as day. Neighbors went silent, eyes wide, some angry, some lost. We've been paying her for nothing, one of them asked. Sheriff Reeland stepped in snow, dusting his jacket, and took it all in. Linda, we need to talk. It was over. The Queen lost her crown. The whole block saw through her, and for the first time in years, nobody looked to her for answers. The county moved quick. Restitution letters went out, fraud charges. Linda's SUV got towed off her driveway. Her husband left, house went up for sale. A young family moved in, laughter echoing across the yard. The neighborhood actually felt like one for the first time. Betty stopped by with muffins. Hank borrowed my ladder. Kids biked down the access road Linda once claimed. I started a real lake committee, bylaws, elections, transparency. No threats, no fines, just neighbors keeping things up. 4th of July, the whole block turned up for a barbecue on my rebuilt dock. Colton tugged my sleeve. Did we win, Dad? I told him. We just set things right. Funny thing, my grandfather never said much about that trust, just wanted the land protected from developers. He did it to keep the lake safe, not to control anybody. Land remembers its owner even when people forget. Justice might take time, but it always lands. If there's one thing I learned out here, it's this: bullies only win if you let them. And the truth weighs more than any threat. If you've ever had to fight for what's yours, share your story or just drop a justice below. And if you want more stories where the land and the people on it finally get to speak for themselves, hit subscribe and stick around. There's more where that came from.